letting it all hang out. You know what I'm saying? We're probably not even ready to podcast yet, but I wanted to hit record at 1:11, so
Here we are.
Here we are. Why not?
You got to have your motivators, you know.
What has being ready ever done for anybody? Really, in reality. Fake it till you make it's a real thing.
Well, what did we see it here in that SNL? I don't know. I think it was a Lorne Michaels quote where it's like, SNL's not ready at 11:30. It just goes live at 11:30. You know, and I was like, that sounds about right for pretty much everything.
Yeah. if we futzed around and waited till we felt ready to do this, we'd probably never do it. Or anything we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to say we force anything. It's just like, you do what you do when it's time to do it.
Mm-hmm. You're much better at that. I would be left in a liminal space of like, wait, should I do this?
Was that?
Wait, is that the best idea? There's an infinite other options and possibilities we could consider.
Yes. Yes. Cool. Well, yeah, we're here. Up top, I do want to mention,
Yes.
we did our first film club on our Discord or through the Patreon.
Great
Patreon.com/churchofchill. We did our first film club and we talked about the film Stalker with a bunch of the homies, and it was so fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed about how much fun I had and how much I love doing that. So week 2 coming up Monday at 7:30 p.m. We're going to be talking about the film My Dinner with Andre. And if you want to join the discussion, join our Patreon. Patreon.com/churchofchill. Means a lot to us.
It's pretty cool too, because I feel like you've always like in the back of your head been like, maybe I'll have another chapter as I get older and it's not as easy to run around, where I could like teach film, because you're so like film history or film discussion or film theory or whatever it is.
I just want to teach life through film.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really want to teach film as much as you might think.
Right.
Because everything I do in film kind of goes against what you would teach.
Right.
So I think it's cool to teach people who they are through the lens of filmmaking. And through, I mean, you don't even have to be a filmmaker. You can just watch them. And hearing different people's perspectives, even on the film Stalker, really changed my view of it. And not only that, forcing myself to watch something with the intention of talking about it made me watch it on a whole nother level and appreciate it on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's one of those things too. You're like, oh, I should watch this. I'll watch that one day. But, you know, this kind of sets the wheel in motion.
Yeah.
Like, are you ready to watch Stalker, or is it time to watch Stalker?
Spark the flame that turns the wheel. Let's get this going. Let's get it going. So yeah, that's something that we have going on. Very fun.
Yeah.
And we're up here in Maine, having a great old time.
Back at it again.
Yeah, back at it again. Your mom might not be long for Maine. She's talking about moving back to the Hudson Valley. And I only mention that because we just made a good friend up here like yesterday.
I know.
We've been coming up here since 2018, and we just literally just hole up at your mom's house, and now we made a friend down the road. Shout out to Ryan, who I know is listening.
It takes like 5 years to land in a place and make friends. Has been our experience. You know what I mean? So my mom's crazy. She's been moving since she was a kid. Her dad was like a salesman. They moved a lot. So it's like part of her energy. You and me were like, we're good. Maybe we'll never have to move again.
Yeah.
You know, we just kind of get into that place. Like, we'll hold it down. We'll just make the best of what we got here. And for her, it's like an identity shift thing. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons to come back to New York and be closer to us, but...
Well, I mean, for two different people, the same thing might elicit completely different responses. Like, to me, this feels like, whoa, crazy, chaotic, whatever. Like, this actually might be calming for her to go through a cycle where it's like, I ain't stuck here. This is not going to define me. This is one of many places I live. And, like, something about my chart has me want to, like, nest in a place for, like, a decade at a time. I like that.
Well, your Cancer sun is like keeps you home, and your Sag moon keeps you exploring. But like maybe your home is home, you know? I don't know.
You were telling me something about my astrology yesterday that really blew my mind and kind of I don't know, recontextualize my relationship with my sister.
Yeah, because you feel like you're so different from your sister, because your sister's kind of like serious and she's a Capricorn and has structure and has like a way that she goes about life, and you're like, she's so serious. And I was like, well, you have Capricorn rising, which means you have Capricorn in the first house, which is your body, and the only thing you're really serious about is your body.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh.
It just cracked the code on everything. I was like, oh, my sister's the best. She's doing with her life what I do with my body.
Yeah.
Which is, for me, it's like, no, it's not funny. It's not funny. I'm not doing that. I won't do that. No, I don't. This is what I need. This is what I do.
I really don't do sugar anymore.
I really don't.
I
really don't. But kind of, that flipped it on me. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, everyone's just fucking living out their weird little trip.
Yeah, she's like, because being a Capricorn sun, it like rules her whole chart. This like to you, what could be like more disciplined or serious, and so yeah.
Well, what's great is a person like that goes and has 5 kids. It's like, talk about doing your civic duty. Like you're gonna be a good mom. You should have a lot of kids, like because kids need a good mom.
Yeah. No, and they're great kids, and
that's
how it happens.
Awesome. They're really awesome.
And we are off the hook now, so.
And my body's great.
Yeah, so
the way she treats her life and her kids, that's how I treat my body, and it's good.
Yeah, you have the body of a young gymnast, the way her kids are young gymnasts, kind of vibe. Yeah. That's what I mean. I've gotten to the place where, I have mad respect to astrology, but I used to like watch the things like, what does this new moon mean? What does this full moon? I'm like, I'm over it. I can't even bring myself to listen to anything. That said, I do believe in it, and I do appreciate it as like this case, like a way of understanding kind of different aspects of yourself and other people that allows you to be more compassionate. Mm-hmm. To like, oh, that makes sense. Not like, oh, if only they weren't like X. It's like, no, that's like exactly who they are, and that's why they're so beautiful, and that's,
wow.
That's an expression of how where they were born means for the rest of their life, and it might be different from who you are, how you are, but it's not any less perfect.
Wow. I wonder what the astrological makeup of this the CEO killer Luigi is.
Someone's probably doing this chart now.
Like literally somebody should do his chart, and maybe we'll ask, like, next time we have Noah on, we could have him analyze it, because it's like, what set of circumstances, we know the real life circumstances, but what set of astrological circumstances creates like a once in a few generation type of folk hero?
Well, the astrological circumstances is every circumstance.
Yeah, right.
Like Mary used to tell me, like, you could look to see who has like a good relationship with their mom based on when they were born, or what their relationship is with their body. Like, you have a house sign for all of this stuff, like your body, your health, your career, all this stuff. Like, what rules it? And so what has happened to him in his life and what has happened to us in our lives is directly correlated to when we were born, which is cool. I think it's super cool.
Yeah. And anytime I find out more about it, my mind is blown. But kind of like you, I don't get too hung up on it. If it helps me go with the flow, I go with the flow.
Yeah, it's nice.
If it feels like it's impeding the flow, let it go.
For me, I get to... When someone tells me how something's going to relate to me, I get too in the weeds as far as like, what does this really mean, or analyze. It takes me out of the moment for the most part. And I look back on the past and I'm like, oh, I should have known that because I knew that this was going to be a hard transit. And I'm just like, I can't live like this.
No,
who
could?
And when you look at it, say your relationship, I want to talk about Luigi more, by the way. But when you look at your relationship dynamics, and like a lot of people, maybe when they first fall in love or something, are like, well, I need to know how we relate in the stars. Like, how does our chart play out? And you might have that information, but it's not going to change how you relate. You just kind of...
Right.
It doesn't change anything having the information.
Exactly.
It's like you're still going to have to play out the dance, even if the chart says this is a bad idea. You're just like, oh, this is just, I know it, but I'm still going to do it or whatever. And our ego gets so entwined with how we interpret things. But
well, that's, I feel like, where I used to butt heads with Mare. It's because, like, she really was an astrological whiz, still is.
Right, yeah, of course.
But I knew you were going to do that you know, I knew this was going to be hard. Things aren't going to be good until, like, that kind of energy.
I knew you were going to be in a bad mood today. Else you were like, stop.
I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like the 1-2 punch, you know. I knew you were going to be in a bad mood. What? I'm in a bad mood? You knew something? Why didn't you tell me? What?
Well, also, like, you see what you're looking for. So when you're looking for, like, evidence of something, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
Those are interesting traps.
Yeah, there's many.
Many traps along the way, which is, like, relates so much to the film Stalker, which if you didn't come to a film group or watch Stalker, like, you can still watch Stalker and get a lot out of it. You know,
well, that's one of the things they talk about. They're like, when you're in the zone, there's traps.
Yeah.
So watch out. And they're like, the people that came before, they may have left us evidence of where the traps are. It doesn't fucking matter. The traps are your making.
Yeah.
I can warn you about the traps. It doesn't matter. You're going to still fall into your own, and you should, because that is the cosmic agreement you made before you took form.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about that film is, like, you can reflect on your own journey and then just how, like, the fear along the way is, like, part of the journey, and it's kind of inevitable, you know, and the doubts and all this stuff. And but it's like a hero's journey.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to give it away. I'm tempted to go too far to the point of giving some details
watch
away.
the film Stalker.
Yeah, totally.
But, you know, like, in our life, it feels like right now we're bearing witness to a lot of people, what could seem like unwinding, but maybe the opposite. It seems like people's lives are falling apart, but maybe they're falling together. And it's a strange thing to kind of look at, like, every facet of our life and kind of see these examples of, like, I wouldn't even say people struggling, just, like, on the ropes with their current set of circumstances, and, like, let's shake things up a bit. There's a lot of that going on right now.
Well, it's a huge transit shifted with Aquarius. No, wait. I've been talking about this a bunch. What just was the big transit that happened?
New Jersey Transit CEO got fired.
Come on, we went out of Capricorn into Aquarius on this big transit, which is what thing is it? Saturn or whatever. I don't know. I'm totally blanking. See, this is why you don't come to me for astrology.
I forgot what we're even talking about. I literally did. I literally just forgot what we're talking about.
But, like, a huge transit just happened that's going to be in place for, like, the next 12 years, and we're never going to go back into Capricorn, you know, and so we went from, you know, it affects people differently, and it's going to play out over the course of this next 12 years or so. So right now is, like, a dramatic shift people might be feeling. And maybe
that's what I'm feeling, is people are feeling a shift in their life, and then what it's compounded by is sometimes they look at us like, you guys seem to know what's going on. What's going on? And all I can think to, like, it's the best piece of advice, but it also seems so lame. It's like my solution to, like, everyone's problem that they're like, oh, my life is this. I'm just like, just listen. This is coming up right now for a reason. You're depressed.
You like to say, give it a seat at the table.
You're depressed. Give it a seat at the table. Okay, what the fuck do you have to say? You know? All right, you made it up into the board of directors here. What do you have to say? Give us your pitch. Give us your pitch for why everything sucks and why I'm the worst. Let's do it. You know?
Okay, I'll consider that. Thank you so much.
Yes, yeah. We'll
much.
consider. Go ahead. Yeah, and then the next person, anxiety comes in with its Mad Men pitch for your life. You give it a seat at the table. You're confused. You know.
Well, because it's gonna try to find different ways into your psyche.
Your job sucks. Your partner sucks. Your fucking, I don't know, the place you live sucks. Like, whatever it is, give it a seat at the table. Listen, that's what it's time for. That's what it feels like. Is kind of the advice that I always give myself. Is like,
is there anything for you that's been wanting a seat at the table?
No. I mean, I have an open door policy with all these fuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the emotions and, you know, the spectrum of emotions that I even feel in a given day is pretty wide.
It totally is. The amount of moods, emotions, people, like, you know, you really can't pin yourself down, or anyone else for that matter.
No. Well, I just I just try to do my best. That's all.
Mm.
And I think that really sounds so simple, but it keeps me on the track. A lot of like when I'm apologizing to you, and I try to always say this, it's like, I'll do better. Because it's like, you're like, I know you will. Like you almost get frustrated hearing that, but I'm like, no, that's like kind of like a little wrap it up prayer on my whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'll do better.
I'll do better.
Yeah.
I heard myself, and I'll do better.
I'll tighten it up. Sorry about that.
You always say it after you give me a hard time. You always like give me a hard time, and you're like, and then we wrap it up, and you're like, I'm sorry, I'll do better.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a perfect, because I'm like, no, you just talked to me about how I need to do better. I'll do better. But I think you at the same time heard yourself almost talking to yourself and realizing that you almost, as much as you can inspire me to do better myself, the conversation you're really having is more with yourself than anything. In a way, I don't know. I'm not trying to speak
like
for you.
What you were saying. This is why we don't have therapists. This is why we haven't had to spend money on therapy. Or didn't somebody point that out to you?
Yeah, my buddy Lindsay a while ago. I was like, oh, I've never done therapy. She's like, what do you mean? You have like 500 episodes of therapy out there. You're always in therapy. You're broadcasting your therapy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, because that's all therapy is. It's like just hearing yourself say something, because they very rarely will even give you anything like practical advice, anything like that.
It's not really their job, is it?
I guess they're just holding space, which we do for each other.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's been an interesting time this last week, that's for sure. I think it's seems to have brought people together, or at least like what you were talking about with you called him, what did you call him, a folk hero?
No, yeah, I mean, there's many ways to describe what's going on.
Well, a lot's still being revealed, but I think what it did is brought, I think we've been very aware for a while that there is a class war that's not only being fought from one side, which is like systematic violence from like corporate entities and government entities, like systematic violence among the people, and instead of us acknowledging, oh, we're in a class war, we war with each other about identity politics and left versus right, and I think a moment is happening when everyone reacts to this, and like somehow people are like, oh, the tragedy isn't this one guy losing his life as much as it's all the millions of people who've lost their life because of denied health care. And that's a universal issue. And most of the people in this country are on the wrong side of the line, if that's the right way to put it.
Most, yeah. Literally, we have percentages. It's 99%.
Yeah.
More.
And while it might feel like they're having a moment of celebration, just think of all the people that celebrate record profits.
Well, that's what you're celebrating when you celebrate record profits.
Yeah, you're celebrating people's death. Yeah. And what's a little frightening, I guess, if I were to say that, is that, given that people in charge have a lot of money, that there's not like really an acknowledgement of the violence that's being committed against people, and there won't be, and it'll be very like focused, like this guy committed a crime, rather than the larger crimes that are being committed on a daily basis. But the people are very powerful, and they're waking up.
Yeah. Out of nowhere. That's what's cool about it. And I think like this dude, the legend has already surpassed who he actually is. So to me, that's why I would just knee-jerk call him a folk hero.
Yeah.
Is because it's like, now we're starting to get the details of his life, but the blanks were already filled in. You did a nice job on behalf of the working people. And not only that, he is a class traitor in the best possible sense. Like, he comes from the upper crust. He went to their schools, he got their education, he learned their ways, and still got fucked. And yeah, man, I don't know. Obviously, a lot more will be revealed, but it's really...
And he'll be painted as like an insane person. So in every conceivable way, he'll be like his ideals and philosophies and ethos will be disregarded and said to be crazy in a way that could be concerning. And that's why we all have to like quickly read up and adopt some of this energy, because otherwise it'll be like, oh, he'll be crucified, you know? He's a crazy person. He's not like us. He was brainworm or something like that.
No, he is like us, especially if he's a crazy person. He is like us. He's a lot like us. I screenshotted a little thing that somebody, like, this was the #1 thing on Reddit this morning. Most people don't even realize how normal and set up for success this dude was. He took one for Civilization, and here's his little resume that they write out.
Oh, yeah.
Born into a wealthy family, attends a $40,000 a year private school, becomes valedictorian, earns a bachelor's and master's in computer science by 26. No criminal record, no behavioral red flags, clean slate, sharp-dressed, photogenic, Chad, and active on social media. Vacations abroad, posts polished photos, looks like he's thriving. Lands internship and builds a resume that screams success. Spends free time exploring AI, mushrooms, and self-optimization trends. Writes a Google Reads review on Ted K, sprinkles in safe edgy. Joins the professional world, follows the system script perfectly. No signs of instability, just another rising star in the tech scene. Disappears from friends for 3 months. Kills United Healthcare CEO. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
holy shit.
I think I also saw something about, and this is not to...
the cost of surrender is much higher than the cost of resistance.
This is not to delegitimize him at all, but I think beyond back surgery and back pain, and I think there was Lyme's disease and stuff like that. Like,
ooh, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, so these things do affect people. And I'm dealing with like a little wrist issue, and I'm like, oh, it's just shifted my consciousness. I cannot...
This guy got MK Ultra'd by a fucking tick.
Yeah, and...
I know it.
So much pain that people experience, and how do you navigate life? And he obviously got to the place where he was like... I don't know what obviously he got to a place, but...
where enough was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, we see what's happening. Peaceful protests aren't making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's changing. It's made a mockery of, and
hundreds of thousands dead every year from opioids alone. You know, that's something that was handed to us by the most powerful cartel in this country, the pharmaceuticals, and you know, it's funny. We make a film, Oxyana, that highlights, hey, there is a growing opioid epidemic, and we found this place that kind of epitomizes it, literally. And we go and we make this film, and the response from corporate media was to shit on us, take us down. I get a call from Senator Joe Manchin saying, what can he do to make sure that this film doesn't hit the open market, that people don't see it? He wanted to make sure that people didn't see it, because it was a bunch of people saying, hey, look, we helped keep the lights on in this country for generations, and we had all of our land and labor exploited, and we're sick, and here's what you do to us. You get us addicted to these fucking pills. And so we make this call to action, this holy shit, here's the circumstance, somebody please help film. And what happens as a response to films like ours and the hundreds of thousands dead and more people becoming aware of this? They set up another predatory industry. They say, oh no, okay, we have to come in and fix the problem with more predatory middlemen, crazy, like the new New York Times expose. I can't remember the name of the company. I want to shout them out, but there's a new New York Times expose about this company that, they see the writing on the wall and they're like, we can get a lot more. The more methadone we give out, the more money we get. The more sick people we have, the more money we get. So they're overloading people on methadone, hitting them like it just crazy, egregious, inhumane approaches to quote unquote health. These aren't people that care. These aren't people that give a fuck. I mean, even just
like I always see once in a while, like, oh, they're thinking about banning, FDA's close to banning red dye number 3 or whatever.
And we're getting close, but the lobbyists got in there and they made a good case saying, I don't know what we're going to do about our record profits.
It's been banned from like makeup since 1990. That's how poisonous. You don't want to be putting in your skin. So it's like, but instead it's in kids' candy and kids' cereal and everything else.
If we're so beholden to markets and algorithms and seeing a little line go up and up, like, can't we just make record profits happen from people thriving and being healthy? Like, what can't we just make it that? You know what I mean? Like, can we do something to make rich people's fake little line that they need to see going up, like, just go up from people thriving, from people reclaiming their life and their fucking freedom? Because what this dude went through pales in comparison to what a lot of people go through.
Yeah, no,
it really does.
I saw in comment sections people just being like, they denied my coverage on this, they cancer on this on this, and this. Like, United Healthcare is just
my sister Caitlin will die if she doesn't get a certain pill that they won't give to my parents until the day she needs it.
Yeah, it's black labeled or something, blacklisted. Like, you can't. It's insane.
Well, no, it's an added way to shake down people who literally can't fight back. We're so overwhelmed with Caitlin's health issues that we don't have the time to be fucking activists. I don't have the time to come up with a plot to kill a fucking CEO. I got to figure out how to get that pill on that day. And holy shit, it better not snow that day. There better not be a disruption in the supply chain. We lost a family friend over that. A family friend had a son who died of a seizure because of a snowstorm. Because the services and the medications couldn't get to him in time. This is stuff, they keep people on the edge of precarity. Do you think my parents would be doing something with that black label pill other than just giving it to their daughter to save her life?
No.
But they need to be infantilized and treated. And that's the whole thing. That kind of hypnosis works. It works on the masses.
And it's not about protecting people.
No, it's about exploiting them.
Yeah.
It's about saying, oh, hey, but you didn't pay. So once you pay, we'll let your daughter survive. And then they got my parents exactly where they want them. And it's coming from every angle.
Well, I think one of the things that, I don't know if these little things that I see about people being like, I work in a pharmacist and everything got approved the following morning,
Yeah.
And something about, anesthesiologists like actually getting paid if they go overtime or whatever, some crazy stuff.
All the nice shit we have in this country came from violence. I mean, what are we talking about?
Well, I think,
let's go.
Most of the country is scared and it's the wrong side of the country. Mm-hmm. And and I think what happened is something took place where it was felt that there was a celebration of this happening. And it's like, are you committing so much heartache, grief, and preying upon people that people will celebrate when you die? And I think it's a huge self-reflection moment for the CEOs of everything. I don't know. I would hope. I don't know.
They can self-reflect all they want. They're still beholden to a little number going up.
Yeah, totally.
And they're beholden by law to make that little number go up on behalf of their shareholders. Mm-hmm. And if those shareholders find out that record profits were interrupted because one of you fucking CEOs died and then we had to start approving coverage, no. Trust me, it doesn't change things.
Yeah, you're right.
It doesn't change things. So, it's, look, this is like, and I get it. There's pearl clutching that goes on. And I get it because nobody wants,
to celebrate death and he had a family and everything like that.
Yes. And I understand what people like that are saying and what they're feeling. I just don't relate to them at all. I just don't, I don't. I think that they don't understand that this is a response to a level of violence that they can probably barely wrap their head around, and that has been whitewashed with money.
Well,
because when these guys fucking kill people as long as it makes them record profits. You know,
one person,
it's allowed and it's celebrated.
Yeah, I saw this. One person dying is a tragedy. Millions of people dying is a statistic. You know, so it's this way of like removing us from what's going on and who the heartache that's been inflicted upon so many Americans and continues to be.
Yeah.
The injustice of children dying, people losing their houses. I mean, seniors is like the number one growing group of homeless population is seniors who have medical bills they can't afford. Yeah.
And look, none of this is news to anyone listening to us, of all people.
Yeah.
You know, just trying to give a shout out to the homies. I know in our house, we call it Luigi cart now. For sure. It's Luigi's world. He put some respect back on the name Luigi.
Oh, totally.
You know, for so long, the Luigis of the world had to live in the shadow of Mario. And why? Based on what?
Well, we were talking last week about how, you know, the best artists have a chip on their shoulder.
Oh my God. Totally. It totally was going to be a Luigi that came out of nowhere. And here's the thing. The media is going to try to paint him as a Waluigi.
Oh, yeah.
They're already doing that. And I must say, he kind of, you know.
Maybe we need a
Waluigi. He kind of looks like Waluigi.
Yeah.
But
he will look more and more so as he's in custody. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this guy's going to be you know, they're going to lock him up and throw away the key. But I hope at the very least he's allowed some conjugal visits, right? Like, wouldn't that be the most beautiful? Like, if his lawyer was just like, look, he's already been made a folk hero. We won't fight the case too hard and put the whole system on trial. If you just, with the life sentence, let the boy have fucking conjugal visits because he's got so much pussy coming his way. just please, just give this as the trade-off.
Oh, yeah, I went to bed every night, not like thinking about him in a sexual way. No, come on. But I did, like, I'm like obsessed with him. Like, I think everyone is collectively for a moment. Be like, what's going on with this guy?
Well, it's starting to pull something out of our collective shadow up into the light.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think what it does for people is it starts to make them on some level, I don't know, at least this is what I do. I can't help it. I'm like, shit, man, why are we having such a visceral positive response to the murder of a CEO? And I'm like, okay, well, if I just apply that macrocosm to the microcosm, well, I gotta maybe I gotta murder the CEOs in my head. Maybe that boardroom I'm talking about, some people up there gotta go. maybe some of those archetypes in my psyche have way too much power.
Mm-hmm.
They have way too much power to shut down the better instincts of the lessers.
Or to inflict an AI that just is like, doesn't let any good new idea flourish.
Yeah, exactly.
Denies all claims.
Yeah. And again, we started this by saying we're not prepared. And had I been, I would have thought about this a little bit more because it could be a good bit. But I don't know. Run with it. Fill in the blank. Use AI to use my voice to fill in the blank. That's a good bit, though. There's something there.
Something there.
I just haven't really fully thought about it yet. But yeah, this. I mean, I'm always trying to like glean some additional, personal symbolic meaning out of things. You know.
Right.
And being like, all right, well, how does this apply to me?
Right.
How do I main character this shit?
Totally. Well, I think that's an important way to look at it, you know, and to absorb it and that sort of stuff. Yeah,
I think, man, this guy just fucking, he really did it. He really did it. He could have had a good life.
I mean, in the midst of so much division, it's crazy. It just felt like something had to break. That brought people together. And who knows how this is all going to play out, but it seems like everyone in suburbia is like, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure some people are like you said, the pearl clutching of everything, but
yeah.
And no one wants death or destruction or war. Like, I certainly don't. I don't want anyone to die. But when someone gain so much from the murder of others, you're like, I'm philosophy. I'm like, all right, could I kill one person to save 1 billion? I would do it because I believe all lives are equal and sacred. And if I look at all lives as equal and sacred, I don't know. I don't really want to render this out right now, but I the math doesn't add up.
No, hundreds of thousands and millions of people are being sacrificed for the reptilian agenda that is being enacted by these CEOs. So targeting them would obviously be a very effective form of class warfare, one way to fight back. Some guy says it in Florida, man. I just clipped it and put it out on YouTube. But some guy said, if you really want to change things in this country, it ain't going to happen in an election. It's gonna, you're gonna have to kill billionaires. He just straight up says that. He's like, you gotta kill billionaires if you want to start changing.
I personally think a billionaire is an immoral. I think it's immoral to be a billionaire, and kind of egregious. It is egregious, and I believe in banning billionaires. I don't think anyone should be able to accumulate $1 billion. I mean, it's like America was founded on like leaving the king, and not paying taxes to the king. And it's like we have these modern day kings everywhere now.
Yeah, and we
and we applaud them and reward them and worship at their altar.
Yeah,
and buy their shit.
I know, we buy their shit.
Oh
my God, it's such a fucking embarrassment. Yeah, and hey. Someone stood up on behalf of the people. And maybe on behalf of himself. I mean, this motherfucker was in back pain, but he stood up and he did something. And it awoke something that I think scares the elites, because it shows how precarious their rule over us is.
Well, this was like the inevitable direction, that you have this many people in desperation. People wise up and fight back, and I feel like everyone should be taught. You might think it's uncouth for us to be talking about it like this, but we're talking about it like this while it's legal. I mean, very quickly things could shift. I've heard of the Red Scare and communism, people being so scared of communism, they're already banning and talking about that in schools and stuff like that. We're at this place where saying anything like this would be violence. Like, we're inciting. That would be the accusation.
Yeah. Well, you've heard of I was talking to you the other day about the 4 boxes in defense of liberty. Soapbox.
Oh yeah, okay.
Ballot box, jury box, cartridge box. Use in that order.
Yeah.
So this is soapbox.
Yeah, we're down here at the bottom.
Yeah. This is definitely just soapbox.
And
stuff,
I was on a jury,
but that's where it starts.
I did go into the grand jury, and they get you so to the place where it's like, okay, like you feel like it's so matter of fact that you have to make someone guilty or whatever, and then it's just like, but I think we can like zoom out and wake up collectively.
Oh yeah, I mean,
as far as what what it really means to do our civic duty.
Yeah. Let your heart radicalize. Like, you feel it, you know, when you look at this little Luigi motherfucker.
You want to give him a conjugal visit.
Yeah, exactly. When you look at when you look at him and think about what he did, if it melts your heart a little bit, man, that's just like the rebel God in you saying, "Let's fucking go. Enough's enough. Enough's enough with the fear and the hiding." Because all that stuff, people blame themselves, but it's a fucking top-down process that starts the second you start fucking going to school. It starts the second you're born. So your parents are already beholden to it. I
mean, that's the biggest place where they got us, is this idea that it's easy to make money in America and you're failing.
Yeah.
Rather than you're in a system that's set up against you.
Yeah.
And you're doing great, all things considered.
You're doing fucking great. Are you kidding me? You're doing great in the face of that's what's so beautiful about this all happening now, because I'm like, yo, a couple resilient generations are being, have been created here. like I said, I graduated college into the Iraq War. I entered the workplace into the 2008 recession and saying, let's give our money to banks, this and that. It hasn't been easy. As a 43-year-old man, it has not, the workplace has not been easy going place. The economy has not been good the vast majority of my adult life. And I figured out how to be scrappy and get by, but like people are fucking struggling. Like the material circumstances that of most people's life have greatly, suffered. Like the quality of life continues to go downhill. People aren't buying into the American dream anymore. And the cherry on top was fucking 2020, shut down the economy, transfer all the fucking money upwards, it disappears. And then there's a bunch of people like us being like, why did our business fit? Why are we struggling? This and that. And people are starting to ask these questions. And when you do ask these questions, you shouldn't blame yourself. You shouldn't blame yourself. You should get radicalized, become class conscious, and do what you can. Do what you can. For different people, it's different things. Mm-hmm. So, this homeboy definitely, he took one for the team. That's what that post was basically saying. He really took one for the team.
Yeah, mad respect.
Yeah. This guy that we met, shout out to Ryan again, our new homie up here in Maine. When we were hanging out with him yesterday, he mentioned, I fucking texted it to myself. We're back. Yeah, so I was saying, our boy Ryan, he was like, have you ever heard of Bob Dobb and the Church of the Subgenius? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And he started describing it to me a little bit, but it was kind of so cold and we kept it moving or whatever. But then I did a little research when I got back, and it's so funny. And like, I'm like, I can't believe we started Church of Chill not knowing about this. But I'll just read you just a quick little thing. The Church of the Subgenius is a parody religion that satirizes better-known belief systems. It teaches a complex philosophy that focuses on J.R. Bob Dobbs, purportedly a salesman from the 1950s who is revered as a prophet by the church. Subgenius leaders have developed detailed narratives about Dobbs and his relationship to various gods and conspiracies. Their central deity, Jehovah One, is accompanied by other gods drawn from ancient myth and popular fiction. Subgenius literature describes a grand conspiracy that seeks to brainwash the world and oppress Dobbs' followers. In its narratives, the church presents a blend of cultural references and an elaborate remix of sources. It's so. Here's another great one. Ivan Stang, who co-founded the church in the 1970s, serves as its leader and publicist. He has imitated actions of other religious leaders using the tactic of culture jamming in an attempt to parody better-known faiths. Church leaders instruct their followers to avoid mainstream commercialism and the belief in absolute truths. The group holds that the quality of slack is of the utmost importance, but it is never clearly defined. I love that. So then there's a section in here that talks a little bit more about Slack. So basically, I think they just invented a fake guy. Uh-huh. There was this guy,
Bob Dobbs.
There was this guy in the 50s, Bob Dobbs, who knew what was up.
Yeah.
And they just kind of created this fake mythology around it. It's really funny. It's really funny. But the thing that really got me was like this idea of Slack. So this is a section called Conspiracy and Slack. The Church of the Subgenius's literature incorporates many aspects of conspiracy theories, teaching that there is a grand conspiracy at the root of all lesser ones. It says that there are many UFOs, most of which are used by the conspiracy leaders to monitor humans, though a few contain extraterrestrials. In the Church's view, this conspiracy uses a facade of empowering messages, but manipulates people so that they become indoctrinated to its service. The church calls these individuals pinks and states that they are blissfully unaware of the organization's power and control. Subgenius leaders teach that most cultural and religious mores are the conspiracy's propaganda. They maintain that their followers, but not the Pinks, are capable of developing an imagination. The church teaches that Dobbs has empowered its members to see through all these illusions. Owing to their descent from Yetis, the church's followers have a capacity for deep understanding that the Pinks lack. Cultural studies scholar Solomon Davidoff states that the church develops a satiric commentary on religion, morality, and conspiracies. Subgenius members believe that those in the service of the conspiracy seek to bar them from slack, a quality promoted by the church. Its teachings center on slack, always capitalized, which is never concisely defined, though Dobbs is said to embody it. The church members seek to acquire slack and believe it will allow them the free, comfortable life without hard work or responsibility they claim as an entitlement. Sex and the avoidance of work are taught as two key ways to gain slack.
Sean.
Davidoff believes that slack is the ability to effortlessly achieve your goals. Cusack states that the church's description of slack as ineffable recalls the way that Tao is described, and Kirby calls slack a unique magical system.
Oh my god.
Isn't that so cool? That there already kind of is
a Church of Chill.
A Church of Chill that was like doing its thing since the 70s. And yeah, they take it, that's what we need to do with the Church of Chill is like build out we got to memory hole it, basically. We got to build out some mythology that started back in like the 1890s. Just far enough where you're like, oh, there's not a photograph or video of
a Bob Dobbs.
Whoever our Church of Chill person
Who would
is.
it be?
Well, we'll come up with something. You can't put me on the spot about this. His name might be Luigi.
Can it be a woman?
Might be Luigi. Yeah, it can be a woman. Yeah. It could be a child.
Yeah, totally. The baby.
It can be whatever.
The baby who just wants to chill.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
Yeah. That really got me. The idea of obtaining slack in life is like the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And you get slack by having sex and avoiding work complications and responsibilities. And I'm like, yo, there already is a religion for us. It's already been the Church of the Subgenius. Yeah. And I love that. I love just like the mythology around like, the conspiracy to keep you from doing those things, from obtaining slack.
Mm-hmm.
The conspiracy to keep you from obtaining slack. It's like, cut me some slack, Jack.
Well, I was with someone who was doing mushrooms the other day, and the one thing they kept saying is we got to keep a smaller footprint, And there's obvious conspiracy or not, it's just blatant. Like, they want you to have your own house, your own car, your own shit, your own Christmas tree. Yeah. Your own healthcare.
Yeah. Starts to not feel like you have a lot of slack, Jack.
No, you got to get in over your head.
Yeah. Well,
take up as much resources as you can with this total disregard for how it affects people across the globe and the violence that's committed even through our consumption habits. Mm-hmm. And we're all like, I think the biggest thing, talk about bring it personally, is that we're all have a little of that CEO in us. The way we celebrate around the holidays, giving gifts and buying shit and ordering shit and all this stuff and being like, oh, we had such a great year. Look at all this shit we got. And it's like, meanwhile, someone's sewing that, getting the materials, processing it, going to bad chemical exposure to create it, And I think we all have to kill that part of ourselves that delights in what can too easily be removed from the suffering of other people.
Yeah. Well,
and not give due where it's due and recognize
the part of us that's programmed towards record growth.
Mm-hmm.
And, judging our success by a line in a graph going up, up, up.
Yeah.
And for me, the one thing I've been able to realize as a 43-year-old that never really bought into a system is that the people that didn't buy their happiness at all. I think that there is not a correlation with happiness and all the stuff that comes with the cookie cutter American dream pursuits. I don't think those two go hand in hand. I actually just saw a video the other day of this dude who's like this dude who's like, I got this 8,000 square foot house, like, check it out. And it starts like you think it's going to be a brag, and it's the opposite. He's like, this is a fucking nightmare, and here's why. And all the reasons that, like, he would be way happier, and so would all of his friends, had they not blown out their life to that level. And fucking heating 8,000 feet, and the people, you know, the maids and the groundskeepers and all the fucking things
the
and
dust.
people, everything that's required to keep up the facade that you really did it, man.
Yeah.
You really did it.
Well, I think you had a realization kind of early in our relationship. We were staying in a house that was a little big, and you like things to be very clean, and you're like, this would be my whole life, like just cleaning. Yeah. I literally would just spend my whole life cleaning. I would have a creative thought because I'm just cleaning. Mm-hmm. And it would just kind of put in perspective to me, like, what we really desire is the spaciousness to have a creative thought. How do you have a creative thought when you don't have to be responsible for so much space and so many things? And
I'm not going to be creative unless I could be in a space that I can keep clean.
It's true.
Mentally and literally.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So I've found, like, even our apartment down in Brooklyn was like 900 square feet. I'm like, this is doable. I could do 900, probably around 900 to 1,000 square feet is like my ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, needless to say, it's like we're all indoctrinated to do these pursuits that the people that are on the other side of them are like, I leaned my lateral against the wrong wall. I fucked up, and now I'm trying to reverse engineer my happiness because having the perfect, perfect, the McMansion with the we hire a wedding photographer for every 6 weeks for every occasion for the perfect, like, just basically people that have achieved that. If it wasn't clear enough from celebrity culture, regular folk that have achieved it being like, oh, this isn't where it's at. Because it isolates you. You know, it turns you like, why is your mom leaving this beautiful place up here in Maine? It's too much. It's too much. It checks all the boxes. I'm looking at the fucking ocean right now. It's a beautiful winter wonderland. She's got how many bedrooms here?
More than she needs.
3 or 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, an artist studio, this and that.
It'd be crazy if you knew what she got this place for, too. It was like no one wanted to live up here when she moved up here.
She got it for cheap. It's an amazing place. It seems like perfect paradise. But it didn't necessarily... It helped her become who she is. But what's going to make her happy in this stage of her life? Being near her daughter.
Yeah,
Being closer to home.
And for me, I get to this place where I'm like, well, I don't want you to leave Maine. Maine, so many people in Maine are like, live the way I want to live and think the way I want to think. And I have to be around those people. But then as I've gotten deeper, slowly but surely getting deeper into the community we have around us, I realize there are the people already there that are worried about protecting the land, are interested in growing fresh vegetables and organic food and all this stuff like that exists closer to you than you may expect. We really just have to find the others. Yeah,
exactly. And even though it checks all the boxes of the perfect life, she's not near her family. So we gotta get your mom near her family, and I can already see it's working. You know, the idea, like, we're coming back together. That's a really positive thing in life. Those are the important things in life, and they're the things you're taught to get as far away from as quick as possible.
Totally.
Go be your own person. Get out there, create your own set of messes, and blow it all out. And
there's a time and a place for that.
Get in over your head. And I think that, are probably because I have a sister with medical calamities and who flirts with death on the daily. My values are just completely different. That, Caitlin's seizures, her epilepsy, has really brought me much more into a moment and saying, let's be here now. Because this is all we have.
Now.
This is all we have. And we're not guaranteed anything else. So, and I know the only way I can make any kind of mark on the world is if I've listened and been present. And then I might be able to say something worth hearing or make something worth seeing. But I don't know. We're talking shit. I didn't even get high. We'll get a little ripped and we'll go do part 2.
Great.
Yeah, we'll get into some other stuff. We got some stuff to talk about with the people.
Always.
So yeah, join us for part 2 on patreon.com/Church of Chill, where you can also find our film club.
Oh yeah.
Our Discord community.
200 plus music episodes.
200 plus music mixes.
They're very generous. I'm like, Sean, you don't have to blow your load every time. They're like, a lot of them are like an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm like, you're insane.
Yeah.
But you like burning the songs because it makes you have to discover new ones and stuff like that, I guess.
Well, it also when I burn those songs, I'm like, now they're for us. Like, now, cool. Now we have that mix. And an hour and 45 minutes is like about how long GHB lasts. It's about how long a couple K-holes last. I'm thinking about drug experiences when I make these. And the last thing you want to do is leave someone high and dry in that situation. So... yeah, there's all that stuff going on there and much more. And our Patreon is going to be the place that like our documentaries live, because we don't trust YouTube. Vimeo is long gone, and not really sure where else our work can live without feeling like we're going to get attacked by bots or taken down. Join up. It's $2 a month. Whatever. Come on.
Come
on, man.
Find the others.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. No, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening. Love you guys. And if you want to hang out more, you know where we are.
Peace, love, and magic.